Your Excellency, Mr. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., Your Excellencies, Secretaries from the Republic of the Philippines, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. And allow me, on behalf of His Majesty, Custodian of Two Holy Mosques, King Salman, and His Royal Highness, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and the rest of the Saudi government, to extend our very warm welcome to His Excellency the President of the Philippines, and specifically to welcome the entire Filipino delegation, as well as my colleagues from Saudi Arabia, to this roundtable discussion, which I am sure is going to be quite fruitful and impactful on the relationship between our two friendly nations. Mr. President, I'm sure you will know that diplomatic relations between our nations were established over half a century ago, 1969 to be exact, under the leadership of another remarkable Ferdinand Marcos, your late father. And of course, I am from an age bracket that remembers the era of Ferdinand Marcos Sr., who brought so much to the Philippines and who became an icon on the world stage. In September last year, Mr. President, you received our Minister of Foreign Affairs, His Highness Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud, and he reported very, very highly of the meeting and your warm welcome and your outlook on improving the relationship, which is already very good, by the way, between our two countries. And it's an honor to see you here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia on your first visit as President of the Philippines, primarily to attend the summit of ASEAN GCC tomorrow, but also to hold talks with His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and today to reach out to our business community and cement the strong economic ties, people-to-people ties that already exist between our two nations. The Philippines, for those of you who don't know, is the world's 40th largest economy. Not a small economy by any means. However, its potential is much higher. It is today, under your leadership, one of the fastest growing markets, with expectation to double its GDP from 2022 to 2030. Key to your success has been the unique strength and competitive advantage of Filipino talent, renowned around the world for their work ethic. They're English-speaking, well-skilled, tech-savvy, and service-oriented. And Filipinos have made their mark across the globe, and I see them in very high-tech as well as leadership positions when I travel around the world. This is true also here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, proud to be home to the largest Filipino population in the Middle East. We're pleased at the success we have seen so far, and given the extensive reforms being driven under your Philippine Development Plan, we're very excited about the future of partnership between our two nations. Mr. President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we too in Saudi Arabia have an ambitious vision for economic development, driven by widespread reforms and investment. Through Vision 2030, Saudi Arabia has embarked on an ambitious economic growth and diversification journey that can bring benefits and opportunities to partners across the world. For as much as the Kingdom attracts FDI, we also wish to grow the footprint of our own outbound investment-friendly nations like the Philippines. Since we launched Vision 2030 7 years ago, our GDP has risen 66%. Our FDI has more than quadrupled. And last year, we became the fastest growing economy in the G20. We forecast that by the end of this decade, our investment opportunities will exceed $3.3 trillion, translating into tremendous opportunities for companies and investors across all sectors from around the world, and we trust some of them will be from the Philippines, just as much as we are confident that more Saudi investors will be investing in the Philippines. Mr. President, today we want to connect you to key Saudi investors with impressive success stories to share and with a desire to continue building their international presence by investing with partners across the globe, the Philippines being a key one. To begin, we want to discuss today finance. We know that the Philippines is looking not only to drive innovations, for example, by moving to a cashless society by 2030, but also to mobile finance. Saudi Arabia, in our own right, has a highly successful banking sector, and several funds are looking to expand their investment here and internationally. And I'm very pleased that we are joined today by leaders in this sector from Saudi Arabia who are eager to hear more about the investment opportunities in one of ASEAN's most exciting markets and learn more about the newly launched Maharlika Investment Fund that you have launched under your administration. Next, we would like to touch on energy and chemicals, as the Philippines is working towards energy self-sufficiency by the end of the decade. Renewable energy will play an important role in the mix. And while Saudi Arabia is known as a leading oil producer, and we have been your leading supplier of petroleum, our energy future also encompasses major investments in renewable projects. One of them, that is today the global leader, is NEOM's green hydrogen, as well as the world's largest blue hydrogen system to be built by Saudi Aramco. Our efforts in the energy sector also has positioned us to become a leader in petrochemicals. And I'm very pleased that we have several national champions, and indeed the global champions in these three areas: oil and gas, green and blue hydrogen, renewable production from solar, wind, desalination, and of course SABIC and petrochemicals. Another key sector where we could discuss areas for collaboration is industry and logistics. We know how vital this sector will be to the Philippines' growth as a regional manufacturing hub, and that there are opportunities to deepen this partnership. In Saudi Arabia, we're planning to invest more than $133 billion by the end of this decade across aviation, railways, ports, maritime services, and logistic hubs, underpinned by our national transport and logistics strategy. With us to discuss the opportunities in this sector, we see a number of key private sector actors represented, and they will be speaking with you, Mr. President. Tourism is another key sector for us, where we have a goal of reaching over 100 million visits annually and increasing tourism share of GDP from less than 3% before Vision 2030 to 10% by 2030. The Philippines is known for the richness of its culture and the beauty of its landscape. has long drawn tourists from all over the world, including more than 12,000 visitors from Saudi Arabia in the first 9 months of this year. And I'm sure this number will continue to increase as we open more direct flights and create more packages for Saudi tourists to enjoy your beautiful country. You undoubtedly have many tourism lessons to share with us, and we look forward to working together as we both aim to grow tourism, and particularly ecotourism, in the years to come. I'm sure you'll also know, Mr. President, that we have many investors in Saudi Arabia who invest globally in real estate development, in mixed-use facilities, and in tourism. And some of them are with us in this group that would be willing to explore opportunities to grow real estate developments and tourism in the Philippines. Labor, as I mentioned, is an area that is important to both of us, and it is indeed your competitive advantage. And there is considerable collaboration, not the least through the 130,000 Filipino nurses working tirelessly to provide amazing patient care across the kingdom. We are fortunate to have a number of leaders from this sector, human resource attraction and development, with us, who are already investing and growing the kingdom's healthcare sector, where there will be considerable demand for skilled labor. Finally, agriculture, which is an area where we know the Philippines has considerable strengths and much unused potential, with the sector accounting for nearly 10% of GDP and around a quarter of your employment. In Saudi Arabia, we're looking to expand our agriculture sector and strengthen our food security. And also here we have several national champions in food security and agriculture that I'm sure would love to invest in the Philippines to improve the yield of your agriculture sector, food processing and manufacturing, logistics, and the export potential of that sector. So, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, before I conclude, let me stress that we view the Philippines as not only a critical, large company that is growing very fast, country that is growing very fast, which is important in its own right. We also see the Philippines as a bridge to the ASEAN region and to the rest of Asia. And I trust that you consider Saudi Arabia as well, Your Excellency, your strategic entry point to the Middle East. So in closing, let me reiterate our warm welcome, our sincere appreciation to Your Excellency, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., for taking the time to meet with the Saudi business delegation and hear from them and give them guidance so they can materialize and action the great opportunities that are still to be realized between our two countries. Thank you very much. Salamat maraming po.
Thank you very much for your warm welcome, Your Excellency.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor to introduce the President of the Republic of the Philippines, His Excellency Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr.
Thank you, Secretary Pascual. Minister Khalid Al-Fali, distinguished guests from the Saudi government and the business sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum. On behalf of the Philippine delegation, I wish to thank you all for participating in today's roundtable meeting. I also wish to thank the Saudi Ministry of Investment for co-organizing this meeting with the Department of Trade and Industry. I am pleased to note that the immense support that the ministry, led by His Excellency Minister Khalid Al-Fali, has provided us in making this event possible. It is my first visit to the region since I assumed the presidency in June of 2022, and I am most grateful to be welcomed by your confidence in the Philippines and the Filipino people. The kingdom is home to the largest population of overseas Filipinos in the world, as close to at around 1 million OFWs or overseas Filipino workers, as well as the largest community of Filipino professionals in industries such as engineering, architecture, and healthcare. I also wish to acknowledge the valuable contribution of the companies who are taking part in strengthening this cooperation. With an estimated value of over $120 million, the agreements that will be signed today are set to benefit more than 15,000 Filipinos in training and employment opportunities across a wide range of professions in the construction industry. To our current and future business partners, I hope that this meeting has served as an excellent platform for building greater and closer partnerships between the Philippines and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This meeting happens at such an opportune time as the Philippine economy continues its high growth trajectory. Our economy has sustained its growth momentum with gross domestic product at 7.6% in the last year, the fastest rate of growth recorded by the Philippines since 1976. Meanwhile, foreign direct investments posted $9.2 billion in net inflows last year. Our financial and banking sectors are healthy and robust. Our credit rating continues to receive stable and positive investment grades. Indeed, the Philippines' economic achievements in the past year reflect the sustained efforts of this administration, supported by the private sector in fostering an enabling business environment, cutting red tape, lowering the cost of doing business, and improving competitiveness. I assure you that the Philippine government is steadfast in its commitment to continuously support current and prospective Saudi investors. The Philippines has initiated important legislative amendments to existing laws to further open the economy to foreign investments. These include the Foreign Investments Act, the Retail Trade Liberalization Act, the Public Services Act, the Renewable Energy Act, all of which aim to attract more foreign investments in important sectors such as telecommunications, port operations, transportation, and clean energy. Moreover, foreign investors are able to enjoy fiscal incentives made available through the Corporate Recovery and Tax Incentives for Enterprises Act. I urge you to further engage with my economic team to learn more about such benefits. We also stand ready to welcome you to our tropical countries so you may personally see what a globally competitive Philippines can offer. At the forefront of these opportunities is the recently launched Maharlika Investment Fund, the Philippines' first ever sovereign investment fund designed to drive long-term economic development through increased investments in high-impact sectors. We look forward to benefiting not just from Saudi investments, but also from the Kingdom's extensive experience in managing such funds. So as we take part in the ASEAN GCC Summit currently being hosted by the Kingdom, we continue to reaffirm our readiness for deeper economic partnerships, not just within the Southeast Asian region, but as well as with our extended neighbors here in the Gulf. We hope that the Philippines will be your chosen gateway to the ASEAN and Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP economies, which was earlier spoken about. And on that note, I hope that the Saudi business leaders present here today will further make it happen in the Philippines. I look forward to seeing that this meeting we will further engage our two countries and will develop and explore opportunities that as yet we have not discussed between our two countries. We hope to see all of you to visit the Philippines, to see what the opportunities are, and for us as well, for our part in the Philippines, to bring our teams to the Kingdom. And further, we already have a very strong and a very long-standing people-to-people relationship, which can serve as a very good foundation for any future endeavors between our two countries. However, we should not limit ourselves alone to the labor market, we should also explore the new businesses that have come up since the end of the pandemic economy. And that is the area where I think that the GCC and ASEAN will find as a fertile ground for future investment, and also for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the Republic of the Philippines to further strengthen the ties, not only in trade, but in areas of telecommunication, healthcare, energy, and even agriculture, as what's been spoken about. The central tenet of our plans for development in the Philippines is very much to regard our private sectors as partners in this development program. We recognize that government is good at many things, but there are other things that the private sector does better. And with that partnership, we can look forward to further growth, further strengthening of our relationships, and a better future for both our countries. Thank you. Maraming salamat. Shukran.